Hi, I'm Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to talk about the 2025 Trump executive orders. This one hits deep in my heart. It's all about J6. Now, before I do that, I want to show you a couple little videos here. First one I want to bring to the stage is this one here.
January 6th defendant. The things we shouldn't be seeing in the United States of America.
Domestic Trump terrorists.
A terrorist attack on the Congress.
Terrorism.
Americans versus communists.
Insurrectionists. Domestic terrorists.
The communists here in charge are purposely abusing the Constitution and what this body of Congress is supposed to do.
And that's the sickness that is out there. Let's give you another little statement here. I'll show you this one. This is part of some of those meetings.
Material that was provided to the January 6th defendants. And if you start reading through just the titles alone, you'll start to quiver. I did. Was very upset.
You mean this is systematic? They're trying to reprogram them.
This is the reprogramming information given to them on their tablet. Like once upon a time in prison, you would take a class on plumbing or an electrical or trade. You would do something or another language. They were actually given credit for taking classes on, may I share a couple of titles? Taking classes on information such as, I'll tell you what, I'm going to say something else. Well, Kara, will you find that section there, please? So these were re-education materials, how the election here. Oh, here. Trump's crimes before he called for the attack on our democracy. Donald Trump, how he has attacked our democracy. Negligence, obstruction, rape, tax evasion. These are actual lesson plans. Take a look at the tablet, ask them to show you, that were available to them in the jail.
Do you see how sick it is? Do you see what a process it was? Now, I met
New York.
And you just got out of prison?
I met Brandon Fellows here, and we had a long conversation about what was occurring with him. Listen to what he says.
For January 6th?
Yeah, I just got out a week ago today.
When were you put in prison?
June 14th or 15th, 2021. So yeah, I was revoked. And
You were one of the first.
Yeah, I was arrested January 16th, 2021, released 3 days later.
Did they make you take a plea deal?
No, they offered me 3 times for plea deals while I was in jail. A lot of which the language that they wanted me to say, like they've done with a lot of people. Donald Trump told me to go in. I'm like, that's not true. I'm not doing that. And they're like, oh, well, you can get out of jail. You can get out. No, I'm not signing that. I said, yeah. And then I said, yeah, I'm not signing that. But on top of that, I said, yeah, the police also, when I finally came in, they said that I was going to be allowed, no, here are the rules. You're not going to get arrested as long as you follow them. That's the reason why the second I left, I shared my name, as I told you the other day, as CNN, not knowing, oh, I'm going to be chased down by the FBI. Okay. So yeah, it's been interesting. So,
What's your number one thing you say to other J6ers who are getting arrested? Because one person per day approximately has been getting arrested since January 2024,
yeah.
3 years later.
Oh, it's so much better being arrested this late in the game. Just get bold, because we're almost there. The Supreme Court's about to toss this felony out in a month. Do not take their plea deals, please. That's my opinion. I understand why, some people are.
It just gives you some of the ideas that are out there. Here's the point that Trump did the other day. He said, granted pardons and commutations for those sentenced for certain offenses. Now, there are people who definitely did some stuff, but can I tell you the real thing that occurred? And I'm going to show you an article here in a minute, but what they think they said, what they said never occurred. And Trump knows this very well. So some of the things that are happening in there, and he lists out the people who need to be commuted in their deals, and many more, by the way. There's a ton more. They did 1,500 people. And this is one of the areas that pisses me off even more, because this is their response recently.
DC Gulag, and there's now some Antifa here, and the cops are standing between us and some of these Antifa people. The guards are refusing to let the J6ers out. They have defied President Trump's pardon. The pardon says they're to be released immediately, and they've defied that. They know that the U.S. Marshal has been called, and I was told specifically by one Metropolitan Police officer, she doesn't care that the U.S. Marshals have been called. So we have a situation out here, and we could use some help, President Trump. Please send the U.S. Marshals immediately.
And by the way, the U.S. Marshals were sent here very, very recently with that too. So part of that stuff is getting solved here. This is actual letter that was sent to me by James Langford, and more than that. And I got into a conversation, quite a bit of an issue. And here's what his statement was. As someone who was at the Capitol today, I can attest the fact of January 6th was a terrible day for our nation. Individuals who committed violent crimes should face the consequences. And he goes on and talks about the DOJ has charged more than 726 people. And he asked this question. I say to you, and actually, he was the one who said directly to me, Langford, and by the way, others of them have said, that they were coming in around 9:30. And the answer is they weren't even close to there. Anyone who knows anything about it, I've interviewed at least a dozen of those people, and I've had conversations deep with them. And the statements were, they weren't even at the Capitol when something was occurring up in the front. And of course, it was the Proud Boys and Antifa issues. They were breaking in. Those people had no idea what was going on. If I was there, I would have just walked in too. You've seen that. You see the videos in the very beginning where they're just walking right through. So let me show you.
They're so authoritarian that they're using communist tactics on these.
Mute this here for a second, but I want to show you what they said is the crime of the century. We're going to move it forward here. This is some of the people as they were just standing there. Are they doing something wrong? At 9:30, this is what was occurred, and people are walking through inside of the velvet ropes. If you're having a riot, does that look like a riot to you? And people say, but here's the point. Most people don't understand what January 6th was about. Do you? I had this conversation with a wonderful Christian men who hadn't researched this particular thing. And they were looking at me like, holy cow. And first off, they thought I was a complete nutcase. I get it. But here's what I would say. January 6th was about an electoral college. Now, when you have an election, for instance, in 2012, when you had, who was it? Mitt Romney and Obama just obliterated him, right? The Electoral College people get together in Congress after the new session has been brought in, and they basically say, they go over the results. They say their little statement, and they're out, right? January 16th or 2017, the Democrats got all mad about Trump. Now, in 2020, it was hotly contested. Obviously, it was hotly contested. There's so much problem with that particular thing. And all they had to do, the rules of Congress both houses had to meet together for 10 days and discuss it openly. They didn't do it. And because, including Langford, because they did not do it, they violated their oath of office. And many of them didn't sign their oath of office in that time frame as well. And what it does, and there's a case called the Brunson case. This little executive order that I showed you just a second ago is, I believe, a precursor to sharing the Brunson case. And the Brunson case stipulates what I just told you. And what it does is it kicks them out of office. Now, you're going, well, they're already out of office. Are they all out of office? Is Nancy Pelosi and Schiff and all the other morons? But here's the thing. It's both sides of the aisle. Why is James Langford defending this? He's in my city. Why is he doing it? I don't know. But here's the thing. You sided with communism. If you side against communism, that's insurrection. And that's the definition of the 14th Amendment under the 4th section. When you have insurrection, guess what? It accelerates one thing. You don't have to pay the insurrection level debts that they have required on you. This is why this thing reeks of Nasara in a good way, okay? Not in a bad way reeking, okay? In a good way reeking. I'm telling you, this thing is coming like a flood, and be encouraged.